Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the always online multiplayer gaming podcast brought to you by MMORPG.com, your home for all things multiplayer. This is episode 409, and as always, we're doing the show live. Twitch.tv/MMOBomb, Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern. Come and join us. Chat is ready to go for every... There's not enough echo for your tastes. Oh, recording is fun. Recording is fun. We've got a lot to go over. If you're watching on YouTube, head on over to MMOBomb.com. Make sure you leave all your comments. Sign in. Make sure you're ready for giveaways. We had Lost Ark beta keys. I mean, they went like this, but, you know, you got to have a signed-in account and get all your ratings on other games and recommendations for new games. If you want to, you can take this podcast on the go with you now. It is on iTunes and Spotify by popular demand. You can stop asking. It is there. Go follow it. Give us all the follows, the subscribes, all that fun stuff. But we've got a lot to get to today, so let's introduce our co-host, Mr. Jason Winter, the man who almost pre-show exposed the underwear closet. Almost.
Yeah, I caught up in time, but it's because I'm not feeling good this week. It's like every year about this time, it starts getting colder outside, and I'm tired of it.
It does. I mean, Northern Hemisphere, it's what we do.
Look at me, I'm wearing this sweatshirt. Why am I not wearing a t-shirt? Why not? Because it's freaking cold. It's like, what is it, 50. It was 47 when I woke up.
You used to be an old Texas boy, and so you didn't have to worry about this as much.
I'm an even older Minnesota boy, so
you definitely you had to worry about it more. So
it was 47 in early September probably.
Yeah, so what are you complaining about now? You have a happy medium.
But it's always that transition, man. It's that transition.
Also on the line, Ms. Quinlan Bowers. What's up, Q?
I'm obviously not having his weather problems. I don't know.
Are you too hot, too cold? Like what?
You got a ceiling fan on back there. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just to keep the air moving in the house. It's not actually cooling anything. It's on a minimal. But our heater is running now, which means I'm basically having trouble breathing sometimes.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I mean, that is important, being able to breathe. That is definitely important.
It also doesn't help when you forget that you're supposed to breathe, which is something that I've always done. So.
Wait. You forget to breathe? Isn't that an involuntary action?
Apparently my brain doesn't register it all the time, so I will suddenly realize that I'm not breathing and I should probably do it.
That is something you might want to see somebody about. Something you might want to see somebody about.
I've survived this long. I'm sure I'll be fine.
She's like, I got like 45 more years to go. I'll be fine.
Well, I'm going to die someday anyway. What's the difference?
Yeah, why get it fixed? I'm just going to die. I mean, at some point, I'm just going to die. Hey, special event coming up this week on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern here on twitch.tv/MMOBomb. We'll have Wilfredo back streaming. He'll be hanging out with some of the Star Trek Online team, and we'll be giving stuff away in chat as well. So make sure you tune in for that. That's in addition to our normal Wednesday stream at 2 p.m. Eastern with Troy and the Friday stream after the Always Online podcast with myself. So a little bit extra next week with some free goodies if you're a Star Trek Online player. With that said, let's get started with the news. That video clip freaked out. I'm not exactly sure why, but it did not want to play. So we'll do the news
too. It
anyway.
doesn't want to get started in the morning.
Yeah, it's cold too. It doesn't want to get going.
I did not want to crawl out of bed today. I'll tell you what.
It is Financials Week here on MMOBomb.com, one of Jason's favorite times. And now we have more companies to talk about since we don't do just the free-to-play stuff anymore. We've opened it up to all multiplayer things. We have Square Enix's. Those will be posted later today, so don't think we're forgetting them by not mentioning them here. We're still kind of reviewing them to see, where the reporting journalistic angle comes from.
Actually, I just put it up before the cast. There's not a whole lot that's that interesting.
Yeah, they made money. They were up in some, they were down in some. They made money.
They're sad Final Fantasy VII Remake isn't still making them tons of money, and they're getting into NFTs. So,
yeah, and they're
Wait,
a little...
am I high? Because this is in the show notes.
Square Enix? No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Because I
That's the
right.
other thing. That was the other thing.
That's something
There's two
different.
Square
That's
things.
there's a Square thing, but it's
there's
not
the,
their financials. Yeah.
It's
Their
not the most
financials
recent
just
financials. Yeah.
their financials just broke this
They
morning.
did things weird. We don't understand how they do it.
Anyway, people who did put financials out, let's start off with the elephant in the room, right? Blizzard Entertainment. We've kind of been waiting for this quarter to drop its financials, Q3 2021, because this would be the quarter that if there were a big impact from players leaving World of Warcraft for one reason or another, whether it's content or whether it's the lawsuits that are going on, leaving other games, Overwatch 2, who knows when it's coming out, Diablo 4, who knows when it's coming out. If Blizzard was experiencing a bit of a drought financial-wise, this was the quarter that we expected it. Jason, was there a big impact due to lawsuits and other factors? Was there no factor? Was there no impact? Did they gain money? What was the final result for that quarter?
They gained money. They're not going bankrupt.
Yeah, they're not going bankrupt, that's for sure.
But overall, it wasn't really that crazy. It was down a little bit. Down from, let me pull up my spreadsheet because I got a spreadsheet because I'm cool. About 2.07 billion was their total revenue for the quarter. Previous 3 quarters have been about 2.3, 2.27, and 2.41 billion. So that is down a little bit. But go before that, for the previous 6 quarters, they were under, previous 7 quarters, they were under 2 billion total revenue. So at worst, they reset to where they were about a year ago.
Yeah, and the headline you might see all over the place is that they're hemorrhaging users. They're hemorrhaging users. And I would caution you before you look at that stat. It is very impressive, Q, to be like, oh, look, they had 30x million users monthly, and now they have 20x monthly users. But you have to take that particular stat with a grain of salt. There's a lot of probably double counting going on with it. Like if you play World of Warcraft and if you play Diablo, you would be a monthly user of both titles, and they don't break it down publicly in the financials to that degree. So while they probably are down, Q, you do have to be a little careful. Lies, damnable lies and statistics type deal.
Well, it's also one of those things where, I mean, if you talk, obviously this is much higher numbers than, just say WoW by itself, right? When everybody was screaming back in the day, oh, it lost 1 million players, it's dying. And I'm always just like, at that point in time, prior to XIV, the next highest thing was EVE Online and they had 500,000 players. And I'm like, you know what? Until they start hitting below what EVE has, I'm not even going to worry about them. They're fine. They are just fine.
But it's not all the money, Q. That's the goal. Not some money, all the money.
That is true, but that is their problem. So, I mean...
It wasn't all roses, though. Like, you can see that, yeah, there was probably a reason, Jason, that Bobby Kotick made the announcement just a few days before the financials, because this isn't a great financial report if you are an investor. Right, it's interesting from our standpoint saying, okay, are they down, are they up? Let's look at the numbers. But from a financial standpoint, this isn't a great financial report as far as looking forward. So you can kind of see, just like we expected, why Bobby Kotick would have made the announcement ahead of time. I think it's even worse for investors, also players who are looking forward to Overwatch 2 or Diablo 4, but worse for investors that are currently shareholders, because we got a bit of a hint that, you might not be seeing new titles anytime soon.
Yeah, this, I think, was probably more of an impact on their stock price, which I'm looking at and is still... But before the announcement, before the financials came out, it was sitting around $77, $78. It is currently at about $67. So it's down like a full $10. And if you look at the chart from the last 5 days, it's like...
Yeah, it took a big hit, and it's going to recover. I mean, you Call of Duty Vanguard, like I said, we may stream that after the show today, depending on what Twitch chat votes on. I mean, that just launched today. That's going to go gangbusters, that it always does. The reviews may or may not be good, but it will sell. It'll absolutely sell through. So they got that good. But 2023, that That's surprising. That's really surprising.
Yeah.
Like, I remember talking in 2020, like, is there a shot at towards the end on Snowbound, right? When we still did that show on Ready Check Radio and it wasn't on hiatus due to lawsuits. Could we see something Diablo 2 or Overwatch or Diablo 4 or Overwatch 2 related, maybe a beta at the end of 2020 or early 2021? Now we're getting ready to close out 2021, kind of thinking, hey, you know what? The Overwatch League seems to be prepping to maybe start a season a little bit later than normal and pick it up with Overwatch 2. Okay, so maybe we're looking at, March, April, May-ish of 2022 now. Later than many would have thought, but okay, not that far away. Now, what the hell does that mean for like the Overwatch League season if this game's being backed up into 2023?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about that and how it basically can you have it playing on Overwatch 2, which itself is not going to be done. So who knows what kind of issues that game's going to have, or some heroes going to be totally broken or whatever. So you got the competitive balance within the league. But also just the fact that are they going to be playing Overwatch 2 while the rest of us are still sitting around playing Overwatch 1 and just looking at this and going, wow, that's neat. I wish I could play it. Not to mention, how do the players practice outside of like official team activities? A lot of them stream. A lot of them, of course, just play Overwatch on their spare time or whatever. They're not going to be able to do that. They can't queue up random in Overwatch 2 to do that.
Right.
Neither can anybody aspiring to get into the league. They can't practice on Overwatch 2 to get into the league because it's not going to be available to the regular people. So that is just such a huge mess, and I would like to see them go back to, walk back and say, we're actually going to use Overwatch 1. But the issue you have there is teams have been signing players and so forth, and, with the 5v5 and only having one tank, do they now have to take that into account? Because they've been signing guys expecting to only need one tank.
Right.
Whatever else is going to change. So now
the
they have
whole roster.
Yeah, exactly. So it is a mess. As I said on my other thing, I feel a little bad, but I also feel like the whole we're going to do Overwatch 2 next year thing, I think that was like 10% a good idea and 90% a marketing idea. So I'm not that sad to see it blow up in their faces. Yeah.
Now, and to call saying, it's everybody's doom and gloom, Blizzard will be here long after we're dead. And you're probably right. Nobody on this show is like, at least I'm not, and Jason and Q, I mean, I think it's safe to speak for you that none of us think Blizzard's going anywhere anytime soon. I think, and I've said before, that the worst I think that would happen is the Blizzard name would go away and it would just be Activision. And that's the absolute worst case scenario. Not that the company's going anywhere. What is funny, though, Q, and is, we've been talking about this a lot. I remember talking about this on Game Breaker when Warcraft went from 12 million to 9 million and 7 million as, the stock price falls. But now's the actual time you want to buy, probably, if you're not already in. If you're in, you're kind of mad, right? These things being delayed, the financials not being, bajillions of dollars, you're kind of upset. But if you aren't in, I can see this price rebounding pretty quickly on a bunch of people trying to cash in on the dip.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it just kind of overall, yeah, this is when these changes and stuff kind of take effect. Because so there are some people, and that are just like, oh God, I gotta get out now. And if you just chill, it'll be fine. Because I mean, like you said, Blizzard's not going away. Yes, there's bad things happening, or whatever. Or, oh, the stocks aren't, they didn't make quite as much money, but there's a lot of stuff going on that would affect that. But it'll be just fine if you just do, what rich people do and sit on your freaking money. You'll be okay.
It should be noted that $68 stock price is almost exactly what it was about mid-May of last year.
Yeah.
And it rose up to like 90 and a little over 100, then started coming down with the controversies and so
yeah,
forth.
They didn't tank to the point where it's like a fire sale over at Blizz or anything. It's, everybody's fine. Everybody's fine. Who had a little bit of a better quarter? That would be EA. Particularly a few different titles. Jason, this headline is just staggering to me, and I know the last time we talked about it, I said it was staggering to me then, but Apex Legends is closing in on the $2 billion all-time number. They're like a little over 1.6 right now. Next year, that will hit 2 billion. I mean, early, probably Q1-ish. Q1-ish, maybe Q2-ish.
Yeah.
It's going to hit $2 billion. And that's just Apex Legends. What did the rest of the financials look like?
Just to remind you, I think it was the after it had been out for 2 years, they said it was 1 billion. So it's done like another $500 million over the last year or so, or last 6 months or 8 months or whatever. Yeah, it's just silly.
Yeah, that's kind of why I forecasted end of Q1, beginning of Q2 for the 2 billion mark.
They're high on Battlefield 2042. It had 7.7 million players in its recent beta. So that included me. I played around with it even a little bit. First time I ever played a Battlefield game, in fact.
Ooh, what'd you think? I didn't play in their beta.
I thought it was fun. I know a lot of the hardcore fans are like, "Oh, this was wrong and this was wrong," but for someone who never played it, and who I know that like PlanetSide 2 drew inspiration from it for its big battles. I know Smedley directly has said that, so I kind of got that same vibe in a lot of ways, and it was a lot of fun to just derp around with. Plus, I have Battle Pass now, so I can try the old ones. But anyway, not Battle Pass, Game Pass.
Game Pass, yeah.
Right. Also, you know what else did well? Guess what did well for EA?
Q, you want to take a guess?
Well, since I'm looking at the thing, what stores Galaxy of Heroes, which I didn't even.
I'm gonna guess the FIFA Ultimate Team.
It may surprise you to learn that made money.
Yeah.
Which FIFA Ultimate Team?
Yeah.
Well, it does still say FIFA on it, so.
Just for this year. Just for this year. Ain't gonna say it for long. Yeah, it's just absolutely berserk gangbusters. I mean, COVID obviously is really helping the gaming industry, Q. Like, as much as things get delayed and teams that aren't well equipped for remote work have to adapt to remote work, just from a sales perspective, it turns out, Q, when you keep people indoors and you ask them, hey, don't really interact in public for a little while, the video games, they tend to do well.
Video games and social media, you gotta have somewhere to go to yell at people.
Gotta yell. Q, you yell at people online, don't you?
I yell broadly online about topics. I don't yell at anybody specific.
She just yells at everybody.
She's like, everybody, line up. This yelling is for all of you.
See, there's a difference between the y'all, where I'm talking to a group, and the all y'all.
Oh, all y'all's when shit's about to go down?
Okay.
All y'all means it's for everybody.
Everybody
in the world. The Pope, everybody. Just
EA also wants to get into NFTs, but they kind of put that on the back burner right now.
Everyone's saying they have some interest, but they're like, we're looking at it.
Yeah. Square wants to get into it. EA wants to get into it, but
Square has gotten into it, actually.
Here's the thing about EA, though, and their financials. They literally have no problem pretending, believing, and making decisions as if you, the consumer, were an absolute idiot. Just an absolute idiot. I mean, we've all seen EA stumble and, do Star Wars Battlefront 2, thinking you're an idiot, you're going to buy it. Mm-hmm. We've all seen them stand in front of governmental agencies and say things like surprise mechanics, and do things stupid. But you would think that they would learn. Hey, maybe the consumer isn't as stupid as we would like them to be. But no. They don't. Rest assured, they don't. Huge kudos to Wesley Yin-Pool over at Eurogamer.net. Huge kudos. They did an interview where they were talking about FIFA. They sat down with Chris Bruzzo from EA. And basically we're, kind of asking the questions we all wanted to know. Like, what is the future of FIFA? What is the future of the loot box stuff or the FIFA Ultimate Packs? Like, what are you going to be changing in the future? This is unsustainable. You're facing all kinds of legislation. And, if you need to see somebody practice dodgeball, This interview is well worth your read. Jason, you summarized it on mmobomb.com, hitting the high points that are just like absolutely flabbergasting. Like if you read this, there were parts of this, Jason, that made me angry. That just made me angry when I read it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like you mentioned the Battlefront 2 thing too. It's like when they did that thing on Reddit, and it became the most downvoted thing ever on Reddit. And it's like, I think that marketing and PR guys have got to understand. Well, what we also have to understand to some degree too is when you write anything, when you say anything to an audience, you have to determine who your audience is. And responses like he gives to like the general public might work out, just like they might work out, but they don't work out when you're giving it to the actual dedicated gamers, like here or like the people on Reddit or whatever. That sort of stuff falls completely flat because they're more into it and they're more hip to what's going on. And that's exactly what happened here. So his most ridiculous thing, I think, was talking about how, when people leave mad comments about the game, it hurts the development team. It hurts the guys, doing the programming and so forth. So please don't leave those kind of comments.
Yeah, this felt really, really weird to me, Q, because this felt like, hey, we don't want you to actually know any of our developers. They're not people. We want you to know EA. We want you to know FIFA. We want you to know Madden. We want you to know the company, the publisher, the developer. We don't want you to know individuals and this developer and this developer and this programmer and all that stuff. But that's usually the standard operating procedure for these companies. EA makes this game, not Q makes this game. This was kind of like, hey, when you're mean to us at EA because you don't like a decision in a game or whatever, and you take to the internet and you give that feedback, you're really hurting our developers, the ones we don't really want you to know who they are, what they do, or anything. But you're really hurting them. So could you be nice? Could you be nice? It felt so fake and such bullshit.
Yeah, it is weird, right? Because like you said, most of the time it's for the higher level people, it is not about the individual employees. And I generally don't like talking a lot of crap about a game unless the game is just, the design decisions or whatever really bad, because I do know there are people there that put a lot of effort into trying to make something. But I also understand, like I think most people would understand, that there's a difference between the developer and the people making the high level decisions that often result in whatever the developers are trying to do ending up being bad. Like, because there's a pretty good chance that the developer might have done that a completely different way had you not made some weird ass financial decision that just screwed everything up. Right?
Yeah.
Not every time. Some developers just make really poor decisions about what they're doing. And that's where, critique and everything comes in. Like you expect that as an artist. You expect people to tell you when your stuff is not good. Maybe in a polite way. You might want it to be done more politely than the internet does it. But still, you expect it. But to just be like, oh, this person that you have no idea who is, you hurt their feelings by talking badly about a game at a super high level. Nah.
Yeah, and Wesley asks really great follow-up questions to all of this. And, because he says, hey, I don't really think it's ever been about that, like the critique. It might be about the people who are making the decisions at EA to have loot boxes or monetize in the way they are. I'm sorry, but yeah, it might be directed specifically feedback at those people. But it's not usually directed at developers making gameplay improvements or graphics improvements and changing the way modes work out, to quote Wesley. And Chris just kind of says, like, Jason, I'm sorry, EA is EA. There's no way to segregate who that feedback is meant for. Yeah, there really fucking is. There really is.
We can talk about this for like half an hour and whether it's, who are they targeting, this, that. Nobody's confused. I'm not confused. You're not confused. Wesley wasn't confused. Chris Bruzzo isn't confused. He knows exactly what we're talking about. Some people spelled that out in the comments, like, hey, Chris, if you're reading this, let me spell that out for you.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what he's talking about. He's spewing bullshit.
Yeah.
As someone said, using those guys as a shield.
Yep.
Yeah.
When they don't want them to be front and center, that's fine. But when they do want them to be front and center, that should also be fine. No, it doesn't work that way. So then we get to the topic of loot boxes, and this is the other big point I want to hit on this, and then we'll move on. Wesley says the problem with it, the point with the loot boxes, is you're buying gameplay affecting items. Your loot box contains players you're able to use a competitive multiplayer mode, or you can do that, right? And Chris's reply, stunningly, is just like real-world football. To which, before we even read any further, both Jason and I were like, no,
What?
That's not the way football works. You buy the player you want. And luckily, Wesley, quick on his feet, says in real world football, you don't buy a loot box and get what players you get. You go out and you buy a player directly if your team can afford it. That's completely different to FIFA. What you're doing in FIFA is allowing people to spend real-world money on the chance of getting a player. Now I know that you've got pack probabilities in there, but you still don't know who you're going to get. That's not real football. And this question was not answered. Well, it was, with what Jason thinks is probably a Post-it note sitting on Chris's desk while he was doing this interview.
Yeah, his direct response after Wesley brings that up, the next words come out of Bruzo were, let me be very clear about this point. 9 out of 10 FUT packs that are open in FIFA are open with coins, which was like the 4th or 5th time he had said that. That was his go-to talking point. Didn't refute anything Wesley had said, didn't talk about that point. Just went back to the old reliable. And 1 out of 10 people buy in this. 9 out of 10 don't.
Yeah.
You know when people say, let me be very clear about this at the start of something?
Yeah.
You know that they have no other talking point, that is it. That is this one thing that they have been repeating ad nauseum. And it's not even that they think that you don't get it. No. It's just that they think if they push it hard enough, you'll drop the topic.
Yeah.
That's it.
And Wesley didn't. He said, I know, but you can buy them. And Chris Bruzo says, it's so interesting how we just gloss over the fact that 9 out of 10 FUT packs are open with coins.
I think it's interesting you gloss over my question. That's the one thing I would have said if I was Wesley, I guess. But
yeah, Chris says, nobody's disputing that you can earn the stuff through gameplay. I've never done that. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of the grind and whether the grind is worse this year than it has been before. I don't think that's worth getting into here. I take your point, meaning, yeah, you could grind them in-game. I fully accept most people don't spend real money on FIFA, but the point is, you can. You can pay to win in FIFA. How can you deny that? Jason, refer to Post-it note. Literally, here we go again. And 9 out of 10 check out Jason's summation on MMOBomb.com. It's an absolutely staggering interview that I was just fuming as I'm reading this. I'm like, they literally think, Q, that people are just idiots. That people, 9 out of 10 people don't even buy. Oh, cool. So maybe that one I matched up to paid to win. What does that have to do with anything?
And also, I guess if it's such a big deal, if 9 out of 10 people don't do it, then just make it 10 out of 10. Make the whole thing free. Don't earn any money off it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, it's like they're a big money maker. So yeah.
Right, because you have those few people that are probably spending way more money than they should.
Trying to sign Tom Brady in free agency when he arrives to training camp. It's Kirk Cousins.
Does that mean we can get Cousins or get Brady instead of Cousins now?
Finishing up with, this isn't like true financial stuff, but it's kind of, we mentioned Square Enix. That piece is up on MMOBomb.com. They did release their annual report earlier this week. It's not a full financial document. It's like a 40-page glossy where they sum up the previous year's financials and they hand those glossy pages to potential investors and things like that. It's very high-level stuff, right? It's made to look pretty, not actually report nitty-gritty financial details. And they do it every year. But what's interesting about the report this year is that Marvel Avengers was not only called out as an item, but kind of slapped in the face. And as much of a Square Enix fanboy as I might be, I think this call-out is unwarranted and actually should have just been a slap at Square Enix itself. So the direct quote from here, and this is coming from Yosuke Matsuda, president, says, I would also note that Marvel's Avengers was an ambitious title for us in that we took on the games as a service model. We overcame a variety of unexpected difficulties in the final phase of the game's development, including needing to transition to work from home due to the pandemic. Okay, all this is fine. I mean, acting like games as a service is totally new to them is a little silly, but whatever. We're able to surmount those challenges and release the game, but it has unfortunately not proven as successful as we would have liked. Nonetheless, taking on the games as a service model highlighted issues that we are likely to face in future game development efforts, so Q, we will see more Square Enix games as a service, such as the need to select game designs that mesh with the unique attributes and tastes of our studios and development teams. Kind of backhandedly slapping Crystal Dynamics and Marvel's Avengers around, saying, you know what? Bad fit. Developer and game style, bad fit, Q. I'm sorry, wasn't it Square that would have picked them to be the developer of this item, not Crystal Dynamics raising their hand and saying, give this to us?
Okay, well, I actually have no idea how this works, and there might have been some sort of bidding or something going on in the background to be the people making it. I mean, because normally, right, it's like, you're the publisher and you have developers under your umbrella and you know, one of these get it. So I'm not, if it is a bad fit, I feel like that's something that they should have maybe figured out much sooner.
Yeah.
And like, I really don't understand exactly what
It was such a needless
there.
slap of the developer. It was so needless. It was... You made that choice. But hey, everything will be okay because later this month, Spider-Man finally comes to you, PlayStation users, and you get a new raid and stuff like that with a character that I'm pretty sure is already in the game, but we're acting like is, I don't know, whatever.
Didn't they kind of throw People Can Fly under the bus too for Outriders?
No, that was the other way around where Outriders was like, we haven't gotten paid any of the royalties from this game yet. And Square Enix was claiming it hasn't made its production costs back yet. So, but Spider-Man is coming later this month. If you pre-ordered it over a year ago on the PlayStation, you finally get that last contractual obligation, which means I would probably find a new game soon. Because I have a feeling that things might not be all that cozy for Marvel's Avengers soon. All right, two small bits before we move on to the weekly bombs. Gamigo. Not a company we talk about a lot here. Some of their titles, we talked about them when they bought the Tryon Worlds assets. Speaking of, they will no longer publish Arcade here in the West. That's going to go over to Cacao Games. So that's a relationship that I'm just like, XL Games got thrown under the bus repeatedly over and over by Tryon, by Gamigo, as they're the ones that don't want to change things for this model in the West the way we would want them to. It's all XL Games. So it's probably going to be more of the same under Cacao, except Cacao will now probably charge you $20 for cosmetic outfits too. So I don't know how that's going to pan out, but that's what's going to happen. Gamigo is actually working on a new MMORPG. And we know almost nothing about this right now. I'm going to show you B-roll, but chat, be warned, this is really boring B-roll.
It is actually video, too. It's not a static image.
It is video. There's going to be a slow eclipse on the B-roll here. But that's literally all the video content is. It is voiceover, like a chapter 1 story portion of, a world, and it's torn, and, here I am. And, yeah, you can go check out the entire thing on mmobomb.com. We don't know anything else about that. As far as what Gamigo's revealed, Q, they keep teasing little things on Twitter, a screenshot of a book, a screenshot of a full eclipse, and saying, hey, if this gets X retweets, we'll keep giving more and more hints. But this one doesn't seem all that far away. So not all that far away that Gamigo went ahead and changed their Twitter name to New MMO Coming Soon. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It seems to have all your normal fantasy elements thing with the sun and books and stuff. Um, it's Gamigo, so I mean, but I guess it's one of those things that when they finally drop it, and also keep in mind that soon in video games does not mean what it means literally anywhere else. Soon could be 3 freaking years from now, for all we know. Um, so yeah, I don't really have much of an opinion on it because there's
Yeah.
not really a lot to
Yeah.
have an opinion on.
Yeah, I know, right? So we do know that this was something they've been working on it for a while. You know, they had previously said, "Hey, we got a bunch of titles in development set to launch this year," at previous presentations. If you listen to the Chapter 1 sacrifice thing, it is pretty gory. Like there's some gory stuff going on in there. And so yeah, that's it. Like even if you go to the website, it's just this trailer, and that's it. There's demons mentioned. What do you want from them, Jason? Like, what would you like to see?
Probably nothing. I mean, it's hard for me to imagine. It's hard for me to imagine this is going to be like some game that I really want. You know, it's like it's Gamigo, which is, like you said, it's Gamigo, So yeah, I mean, what are they gonna? Have they ever made anything I care about? The answer is probably no. So it's gonna be a game, and it's gonna have demons and fighting. And until I know more, I can't get enthused about it. But I do think, however, that the actual reveal of the game is going to be soon in for real people soon. Like at least by the end of the year, I think they'll have something at least a little more solid, because they started with this is chapter 1. It says they're probably have chapter 2, 3, 4, and at least have a little more that we can go on for some kind of solid info fairly soon.
So Gamigo has actually just tweeted us.
What?
Legitimately, Gamigo has just tweeted us. Well, tweeted when I sent out the thing like 15, 20 minutes ago that we were going live. They just replied. Because the post said, or the tweet said, going live with Always Online Multiplayer Podcast and some of the things we were talking about. And they replied with, "We challenge you, scream face. Do you know what's coming?" Now I'm really pissed at him.
I don't know anything.
Now I'm really pissed at him, damn it.
What is this an ARP? Not an shit.
ARG.
Huh?
ARG.
ARG. Thank you. I don't know why my brain was inserting an extra unnecessary letter in there, but it does shit like that. Is this?
Does it also remembers to breathe?
We're gonna chat channel. We're gonna create chat channel points so that you can redeem and remind Q to breathe. We'll put them as a channel points redemption thing. Yeah,
I mean,
so
it's generally fine.
And not only are they just like, yeah, here's a trailer, some gory stuff's going on in this trailer. What do you think is going on? Now they're literally poking me. Poking me.
How about this? How about I come up with the extraordinarily early notion of what it's going to be?
Go for it.
It's going to be an MMORPG.
Well, they've used that hashtag, so we're okay there.
With a bunch of different races where you go out and hunt demons, and it's going to be kind of gory. There you go. That's it. That's all I have.
Very good. You listened to the Chapter 1 sacrifice trailer.
There we go. I know what's coming. Take that.
I could go for a darker MMORPG. I mean, that's certainly.
I feel like Gamigo just wants to fight with us, and
you know what it is? You know what they lost before? I don't know if it's Devilian 2.
No,
it's
God,
not.
No,
but I bet it's that same kind of. I bet it could be that same kind of feel, that same kind of dark demon hunting, becoming a demon slaughter kind of thing.
Ninja Pandas, they want a fight club. Yeah, Gamigo's screwing with us, chat. They're screwing with us in real time.
Yeah.
And personally, they're not just like, hey, does anybody have a guess? They're like, hey, MMO bomb, WTF. What you got? Yeah. Rift 2, please, please, please. I don't think this is Rift 2.
No.
It's just rolling up on us. We're not even doing anything over here, just minding.
Yeah, Gamigo just flexing. What the hell?
Do you really want
Gamigo?
Gamigo making a sequel to Rift? Do you really?
No, I don't actually.
Do you really?
I had my fun in Rift. I'm kind of done. I do want a darker MMORPG. Like, one of the things I always liked about Perfect World was they had Forsaken World, which was very like vampires and werewolves and almost World of Darkness type, IP. I could get into it. That's why I liked Secret World an awful lot, and some other reasons. But I could go for something a little darker right now. I'm enjoying Gates of Oblivion. I haven't finished it yet in Elder Scrolls Online because it is a little bit darker, and I loved Oblivion. So, maybe this, I don't know. I got an eclipse. What do you want me to say, Gamigo? You gave me an eclipse.
We've talked about this longer than the trailer's gone
really
on.
hard. Like now, like eclipses. What to like?
They gave me an eclipse, and now they're like, we challenge you.
Not even
Do you
an
know what's
eclipse.
coming?
The moon doesn't even get there. It's not even eclipsing yet.
Right, but in one of the screenshots they released on Twitter, there was a full. It's a full
screenshots.
eclipse. It's a full eclipse. So vampires, right? Blocking out the sun. V Rising. Vampires seem to be on a little bit of an upswing right now.
They've already talked demons though, so it's gonna be more demon than vampire.
Hey, I'm all for it. Stop it. I'm gonna have to fight Gamigo. I can't believe I'm gonna have to actually fight Gamigo.
I
Anyway.
guess here we go.
Speaking of a little bit darker, if this is your taste, it's definitely mine, and we know it's Zach's, right? Lost Ark is currently running its closed beta that has kicked off as of yesterday. So you can partake in that if you have been given a key, either through one of our giveaways, one of our friends, like over at MMORPG and Massively, they had keys as well. I mean, they're all gone now. They went like this. We had like tens of thousands of keys, and they were gone immediately. But they are giving keys out on their Twitter, and if you pre-order, and so whatever, you can play the closed beta until the 11th. Yes, there will be a wipe. It is a closed beta, so check that out. I enjoyed the last beta. I have not started in this beta yet. It's all installed and everything. It'll be one of the options I give chat on what I stream after the show. But I do think it's worth mentioning, because we brought up their post a while ago on this show about their monetization plan. And we kind of said, okay, yeah, I mean, we can get behind that. Couple different currencies. This is what they're planning to, make cash-wise, and, what will be in-game currency-wise, and the transferring between the two. And we were like, pretty standard fare, nothing too egregious or anything. As it turns out, the game will not be available in a couple countries, a few countries, namely Belgium or the Netherlands, and you won't be able to play it there. And Amazon specifically labeled it as local laws and regulations regarding random in-game items. It's the same type of stuff we see on Phantasy Star Online, which has their loot box scratch-off tickets, and other games that do that type of mechanic, where there's a loot box type mechanic. Doesn't mean that it's always loot boxes, but generally it is. Now, in Eastern versions and the Russian versions of the game, there are loot boxes, and some people do have big problems with the way they work, and kind of like the dolls. And if you haven't played the game, that really doesn't make a lot of sense, but there are people that don't enjoy the way that they are implemented in that game. Just interesting seeing this, Jason, after we saw, here's a whole monetization layout post with no mention of a loot box.
Yeah, that comes off as a little iffy, as does their explanation of mentioning it as in-game items. Yeah, maybe sort of, but really, you don't. I think of in-game items. I think of the loot I get after I kill a boss, not something I go to the cash shop for. So, yeah.
Yeah. Q, I mean, we did reach out to the team and said, hey, and I pointed out in the email, hey, you did a whole monetization post. You said nothing about loot boxes. Now we see it's not available in these countries. Presumably, that's probably because loot boxes from the East will make their way west. That's our guess. Can we have some more information on this before we publish our story? They didn't get back to me in time for the story. My contact did reply saying that they have reached out to the team to make a statement for us, but I don't have that statement as of the recording of this show. So maybe, I don't like loot boxes generally. I just don't like random purchases of any type, but I also am one that if they're just purely cosmetic shit, I really don't care. If you have the expendable income queue and you want to gamble away that stuff, fine. I do have, taking advantage of people with, gambling or addictive personalities and stuff. I don't think loot boxes should be a thing, but I'm not one of those get up in arms over it people. I just think they should go away. I don't know. Does this change your opinion on Lost Ark? I don't know. Q, what's your take?
Yeah, I don't really know either because I'm kind of the same way. Like I'm not even a person who's like really big on gambling when, I grew up in and around Vegas.
You're talking a little soft there, so speak up a little.
Sorry. I grew
Remember
up
to breathe.
Remember and breathe. Breathe, Q. Breathe.
Oh shit, I just set the dog off because I Anyway, so like growing up in and around casinos when I was much younger and seeing all the terrible stuff that happens because of people's relationship to casinos, and not necessarily blaming it on the casinos, but it's just the way that kind of stuff works, and this is the same way, right? Like there, it's like I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of money on random stuff in a game, but there are those people. So I understand why the countries are, finicky about it and everything. But I'm also not just going to be like, oh, you absolutely need to remove loot boxes from, from the game. Because despite how weird it is, a lot of people even just enjoy watching other people open loot boxes, which is strange. But yeah, it's just it's not something I'm going to be mad about. I don't think it really changes my opinion on the game because I'm not going to use the loot boxes anyway. I'm just going to play the game and kill.
Ixter in chat. What's up, Ix? Good time. Good to see you, my friend. Says, can't they also just completely get around the whole loot box thing by making the items in the loot boxes available for outright purchase separately or have an in-game earning capability? Seems like an avoidable problem for the sake of sticking to the worst kind of implementation. The one that makes the most money.
Yeah, that's why they do it.
That's what it comes down to. Yeah. I mean, that's what it
Why
comes down to.
would we do that when we can make money this way?
Although I do think because like the thing about it is though, right? They do have that in games where you can just earn the stuff in games. Like even say with Genshin Impact, you can earn, you can eventually, and that's the key. Earn all those things in game over time. And it's still the random rolls and all of that.
Right, but that's the point. It's not can you buy the wishes with in-game currency. It's that it's still a wish, and it is available to be bought by cash. It was just the same thing we were talking about with FIFA's loot boxes.
So it comes down to a lot of times there are those people who are still just going to go ahead and spend the money because they don't want to have to spend the time. They'd rather spend the cash to get whatever, whatever they're doing in game. So
I personally hate loot boxes. I don't buy them, and I don't think they should be a thing. Yeah. I don't know. It does change my perception a little bit of New World, and I think, Jason, it wouldn't have changed it as much if it would have been in the monetization plan. Like, why take the time to detail the monetization plan but leave out what is a key feature of monetization, even if it's not a key impact to gameplay at the end of the day?
Because I'm sure 9 out of 10 players in Lost Ark won't use loot boxes.
Right. Right.
That'll probably be it.
I don't want to talk about a lot of New World stuff here. Obviously, we've been writing about the ups and downs of the last couple of weeks, but I do want to take a second just to plug Troy's stream from yesterday, if you want to watch that in the VOD here on Twitch. He is a huge New World player, and he had a lot to rant about with the wealth transfer being shut off. That's back on now, but it was shut off, and we reported on that. And their plans for PvP, yeah, communication's not going to get better in war, but some other things might get a little better. And then there was a huge post yesterday that covered like everything. Q greatly summed it up on MMOBomb.com. So check out all the New World coverage there. If you want to hear somebody talking about New World and the impact to them as a personal player, check out Troy's stream Wednesdays, 2 p.m. Eastern. Most of the time, it's New World. Even if he's not playing New World, you're going to probably talk about New World in chat with him because that's just the way it is. On that note, let's slide over and do the weekly bombs. What's up, Anubis? What's up, Anubis? How are you? Welcome to chat. Oh, wait. Is this... They didn't reply. I replied to Gamigo saying, we're talking about this right at this moment and are angry at you for not giving us details. And they frickin' clicked like. They liked
That's
me,
the
Jason.
coward's way out.
They liked me. Now they're just taunting. All right, Jason, your weekly bomb. What do you got?
I'm gonna have a bomb to Game Pass. Woohoo! I finally joined up.
No.
Because it was
No. Hold on. You need to look at chat. Anubis, you're from Gamigo, aren't you?
Oh wait, what?
You're from Gamigo.
Oh, CM.
Aren't you?
That could be.
Yeah, you got the CM prefix. I think
Okay.
we've actually spoken before. Now that I take a closer look at the name.
Oh no.
Not only do they give us a story that sounds gory and violent and demons and stuff, and they're like, hey, here's a moon. And then they poke me on Twitter while I'm doing the show. Then they show there is a spy among us, chat. You are absolutely right.
An imposter.
There is
From
an
the airlock.
imposter. Everybody vote for Anubis.
Oh God.
Oh,
Oh no, now we're in trouble.
now Gamigo Games is in chat. Look at them.
Oh no.
These bold sons of unreal.
Mike, I think you have to stream Rift after this.
These, definitely sus, people. Definitely sus. Unreal. It wasn't enough that they were like, let's poke a little shade on Twitter because they don't know jack. They got an eclipse. You know, now they're questioning a moon, question mark. I mean, it looks like one.
That's no moon.
It's
the Death Star.
It's right here.
It's a planet or a celestial body of some sort.
It is a celestial body of some sort. It is a Death Star. You're making Star Wars, a new Star Wars.
Oh my God, there it is. That's it.
Somebody tell BioWare.
Yeah, somebody let BioWare know Gamigo is building a new Star Wars MMO. I don't know. No, man, they poke me on Twitter and then they show up in Twitch. And then they did Anubis Star Wars.
Yeah, sure.
This is all we
Star
got. And we got the two pictures, one of a book and then one of, this eclipse in full.
Books in the game confirmed.
Yes.
Are there books? Tell us right now, Gamigo. Are there books?
There will be reading. You will have to read in this MMO.
No, not even reading. Just like background things. Some scholar in somewhere is going to have a book sitting around, like just graphics.
Oh, then they come in
books.
chat. They come and chat.
Oh, Corey says it's a burnt pancake.
It's a burnt pancake. K-Max, shouldn't they be working on the game instead of trolling Mike? Yeah, yeah. Because I want to get my hands on this thing. I hope it's dark.
K-Max,
I said it earlier. I hope it's dark. I could go.
This is what we talked about in the EA thing. The guy is developing the game, coding and so forth, and the people sitting around in Twitch.
Different.
They're community managers, totally different people.
When we talked about EA, yeah, you're right.
I'm confused about that. All right,
Ixter, you're on point.
There you go.
That's not the CM's job.
Okay.
Gamigo,
job's obviously to taunt
thank
us.
you, thank you for stopping by. You're driving me nuts. I want to see what you got. Go ahead, Jason. Your weekly bomb. Sorry.
The bomb to Game Pass. It's like $1 for 3 months, and I've already played 2 games off it. So maybe they'll keep me afterwards. Who knows?
Oh, look at you! Joining the revolution. Q, what do you got?
Totally not game related. I'm giving the bomb to J. Michael Straczynski's book Together We Will Go. It's like his first fiction novel that he's done, and it's totally not anything that I expected based on the reviews at all.
Nice. I just want to say, I tipped a beer to Gamigo for its birthday on a video that they put on their site, and then they do this to me.
Are you feeling bitter, Mike?
I am bitter. I'm bitter. That's cold. That's some cold stuff right there. That video still exists. I'm going to give an A-bomb. I think this is absolutely horrid. This is just dumb. I mean, not horrid. There are better things to be angry about, but this is just stupid. I'm going to give an A-bomb to Christoph Hartmann, the VP of Amazon Games, who, to his credit, was doing a whole deep dive into the state of New World, and that's not what my A-bomb is for. It's a challenge. It's a challenge with no details. It's a book and an eclipse. But in that whole diatribe about lessons learned and things, Christoph Hartmann said that the reason that Crucible failed, Jason, was because the Battle Royale space was too crowded. That's, quote, one of the lessons out of Crucible. Don't go and do what everyone else does because everyone else went for Battle Royale shooters because there was Fortnite, there was PUBG. It's exactly the wrong thing we did there. That was my first year. The decision had already been taken, and also when development started on Crucible, there was no Fortnite. You know, it wasn't just copycatting. Many people had the same idea at the same time. Okay, there was already a PUBG, though, and it was extremely popular.
And H1Z1.
And H1Z1, which was
very popular.
Which was very popular at one time too. Crucible failed because it wasn't good. It wasn't good. It wasn't a good battle royale. The other two modes that you had on there weren't good to the point that you yourselves took them out. Anyway. From the viewers, what do we got in chat here? Let me scroll back up a little bit. Terra Nova says, Dub-Bomb and A-Bomb, so both, good and bad, to Lost Ark beta. Having fun with the game, but whoever did the controller implementation needs to go stand in the corner. It's bad. Yeah, it's not great. K-Max Key says, Dub-Bomb to Gamigo Games for entertaining us today. Hey, wait. The show should be entertaining you.
Now, wait a second.
Now,
are you not entertained?
I
give an A-bomb to K-Max Keys now. That's cold.
Hey, first-time chatter, Mike Shaffnet. I've never heard of you before.
Mike Shaffnet. What's up, Chef? Congrats.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
The date has passed. Congrats. To call 2399 says, Dub-Bomb to tonight's live letter for Final Fantasy XIV. Maybe we'll find out what the Island Sanctuary is. A-bomb to Henry Ruggs, don't drink and drive, moron. Yeah, bad take there. Bad move, Henry. And I don't expect you're going to see Island Sanctuary stuff tonight. The live letter is craft and gathering, PvP, and system changes. So I don't think, maybe a hint of something, but it's not going to be a big topic. Old Glory says, Dub-Bomb to Lineage W. Their cutscenes and voice acting are better than most PC MMORPGs. A-Bomb to Lineage W. People are liking and not liking some things today. A-Bomb, that Lineage W, that it has auto hunt as mobile PC games usually do, but there's an open world PvP where most people are Ark farming and others can just PK anyone who doesn't fight back, or AFK farming, sorry. And can PK anyone that doesn't fight back and auto-farm mobs. Wow. Nasagra partially retracting my A-bomb of Amazon because it turns out that it's only partly client authoritative. Still an A-bomb for the bugs. Yeah, one you gave, what was it, last week, I think? RS Jabber, A-bomb to time change, missed the show again. Well, at least you're here. And the YouTube, you need to get on it. You didn't leave your A-bombs last week. The only one that did was Yami-Kami. Jason, you want to take that since I read all the chat ones?
Sure. Dub-Bomb for New World. Not because it's any good. I don't even play that game, but because hearing about all the bugs this game has is hilarious. Do you know they had a bug that made it so you can pause the game by just playing in windowed mode and moving the game window? And that you can dodge roll mid-pausing, which will keep your character in the game in the dodge roll state, which means you can use that to avoid any incoming damage. They fixed that, but if you sell something on the auction house while being offline, you lose the item, but don't get the money. But the best part is that you can post fake items in the chat, and anyone who hovers over these items will have their game crashed. I love this game. It is a beautiful train wreck happening in slow motion, and I just made some popcorn. And he doesn't even bring up the latest one, which is apparently you can unban yourself by changing your email account.
Right.
What? I missed that one.
Yeah.
Oh, so if we're gonna, we were talking about Gamigo's tweet. We know the memories you make, you will never forget. Hear our story and get ready to make yours. Gamigo fucking tweeting me again.
Yeah.
This looks like a poem or something. I'm gonna have to look this one up.
They're writing you poetry, Mike. They love you.
They are. They're writing me love letters.
So this is an ARG.
Yeah, at this point, it's become one. Yeah.
So, speaking of Twitter, I thought it was funny that New World. Did you guys notice what they did on their Twitter?
No.
No.
I'm gonna assume no. I want to pull it up, make sure it's still there before I do it. Yeah. So in the bio portion, it says developed and published by Amazon Games, Europe PEGI 16, US and Canada teen. Report in-games bugs / exploits here, and there's a bit URL.
Oh, geez.
Oh,
And there's
no,
a
I
bit
did
URL.
see that. Somebody screen capped it and posted
Oh,
on Twitter that there's a problem when this is the link.
Yeah, I think it was Rob that did that. Yeah.
It was Rob.
I love Rob. But yeah, that's a bad look. Question of the week last week was, hey, what's your dream matchup in a brawler that could literally use any Warner Brothers character ever, and who wins in that dream matchup? This coming from reports and rumors at the moment that Warner Brothers might want to do a Smash Brothers or Nick Brawl type game using their extensive list of characters. Chat threw a couple in here, so I want to make sure that I get them. Nasagra, question of the week. I want to see the Flash versus Roadrunner, just so the Flash can be reminded who the real speedster is. And then, that's funny.
What
and
about
then
Gonzalez?
Nasagra throws another. Oh, you put it down there for me. I scrolled back thinking that they were two of them. RS Jabber says, question of the week, the Invisible Man versus Frodo. I don't see why not.
I get what you did there. He said, I don't see. You'd save a lot on graphics for that fight, though.
Yeah, absolutely would. Absolutely would. Might be a little tough to control. Go ahead, Jason. Take the next one.
Question from RayZ0101. Mike Tyson from Mike Tyson Mysteries, apparently is a thing there, versus Gremlins. I refuse to explain further.
I don't think it needs any explanation.
That's a visual right now, I gotta say.
It's definitely not something I woke up this morning thinking I would be thinking about. Go ahead, Q.
Bruckner Catalan. Warner Brothers owns The Matrix, eh? And Stephen King's it.
Yeah.
Many choices.
Yeah, you could do a Pennywise versus Neo. I mean, that could be fun here. Question of the week this week: does Lost Ark potentially having, I should say, loot boxes concern you for that game in particular? And what's your current position on loot boxes after all these years, after all the different legislation, after all the investigations, after all the comparisons to gambling? We're now like 2-3 years into all of that. Has your outlook on loot boxes changed throughout the years? And does it impact the way you view Lost Ark? Make sure you let us know the answer to your question of the week in the comments below. Don't forget your weekly bombs while you're there. Da bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad in the world of gaming, or just life in general. Remember, we'll be back here next Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, with another episode of the Always Online podcast. Until then, Q, where can everybody find you?
Hanging out on Twitter at Quinlan.
Jason.
I'm on Twitter at Winter Informal, streaming at twitch.tv/JasonWinter.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at magicman1, but more importantly, follow at MMOBomb so you get all the tweets every time we go live, every story we post, first look videos, giveaways, interviews, and so much more. Stay safe. We'll see you on the server.